There we go.
Well, that's smart. Have your thing attached to your phone.
Yeah. Hi guys, Beth's here. We're doing a handle demo so that you all can learn how to do handles in a really nice way, I hope. I chose this little pudgy guy that I did as a demo. This was the bottomless cylinder, and then I've put a base on it now, put little bumps into it, and it's gonna be a cute little pudger. So I'm gonna make a little handle that comes from here and attaches into that hip, right? Clary talks about in her article about shoulder to hip always being a good match, and since this has such a nice waistline, I think I'll do that. Maybe put 2 on, but you know, you certainly don't have to sit through 2. But so anyway, here's how I like to do them, and you're gonna find from videos and from 100 other people that there's 100 other ways to make a handle. I've been teaching this type of handle for a long time. It's considered pulled off the cup. And I think it's a fairly easy one to learn, and they look really good. If you just want to pull your handles, lay them out, and then attach them later, that's a great thing too, but very often they look less fresh when you attach them because they're done and they're beautiful when you lay them out to firm up, but then when you go and attach them, you can muck them up pretty good. So I like to pull it straight off the handle so it stays fresh. So here is what I start with, right? And this was just a hunk of clay, and now I'm rolling it out. And I got this clay from the reincarnation bin so that it's nice and soft. And then I just kind of roll like a carrot. And then, you know, this is just an estimation, kind of trying to figure out how much clay I need, but I'm gonna go on the heavy side just to be sure. So I've got this much clay, right? If I put that in my hand, it's about that much clay. And now I'm going to drop it. And this is just a little piece of craft foam. If you want to borrow some, just let me know. I have some, but it's a really nice surface to roll on because it doesn't have any texture, and it also doesn't take the moisture out of your clay. So better than canvas as far as that goes. But so here's my little coil. I'm just gonna drop it down, flip it over, drop it again. Right, so now I have kind of a flattened or a strapped handle. Then I put this between just kind of between the pads of my thumbs, and I want to turn it into an almond shape or kind of an eyeball shape. So you can see that went that way and that went that way. Now I'm gonna just put it in this nook of my thumb, and I'm gonna tap the center of it because that is then creating a curve that will hopefully match the curve of the cup. And it's, you know, it's not gonna be perfect by any means, but it will ask the clay to stretch less. And I sometimes will just knock the corners down on that a little bit so it fits a little bit better. Now, to know if it's big enough, I like to, or too big, you know, I like to kind of put it up to that rim, and it certainly shouldn't take up more than 1/4 of the rim. You know, if you had 4 handles, your handle should never be more than that because that would be pretty excessive. For a mug this size, though, that's not too bad. I don't know, what do you think?
I think it's good.
You think? It's a little heavy. For the sake of the demo, I'll pretend it's a little heavy so I can re-tap it.
Okay.
Right? Because that tapping thing is complicated. There we go. Okay. Pinch between the hands, make that nice little movement. Do my little tapping thing. See, complicated, right? And what this does is this allows the handle to kind of look like it's sprouting from the cup. You know, like there's this mass and then it tapers into this cup, as opposed to if you just have a kind of a squared edge, it just kind of looks like a 2x4 ran into your cup, right? It doesn't have a secure look, it doesn't have a graceful look, and I really like the grace of that nice tapered edge. And that's going to lead into our leading edge as well, so it will give me a nice taper. That explains it, right? So I like how that looks better. What do you think? All right. So I didn't waste my time. Good deal. All right. So a little bit of scoring on the handle. And you know, a lot of people, myself included, if my clay is at that perfect leather hard stage, I won't score this surface because I don't like having to clean it up afterwards and clean up those score marks. But this is a little on the firm side, so I'm going to go ahead and score it. Ooh. So I'm putting this, I hope that's right. Am I still there? I'm putting this in my lap so that I'm not flattening my edges on this mug. If it was just a regular round mug, I wouldn't worry about it, but because this base is so kind of thin, I'm gonna move it here. Now, a handle can certainly go above a rim, or it can, the pitch of the handle can go above the rim, and that is absolutely fine. But be aware if you do that, like I did on this one, right here the handle goes above the rim. I just liked how it looked on that one. But then when it comes to drying, I have to be very careful about how I flip that over. I can just knock that off or squish it. So I make sure that I set it up on an edge so that that will come over the edge. Also something to think about when you dry a cup like that, you know, if you're hand wash or whatever and you're going to scrub it and then you clunk it down on the countertop. It's a good way to kill a mug handle. Anyway, okay. All right, so here I am just trying to drop all the knowledge, man. There's so much of it. Okay, so now I've got slip on both. Sorry, can you check that and see if I'm in the frame? Or wait, no, I can. Duh. Right, get up, look at the chair. Yeah, I think that's pretty good. Okay. Right, I can do that. Okay, so I am going to take this cup and put it in my lap so that it holds it from rolling away, but it's facing now, my attachment points are facing straight up. And this is a great advantage with the handle because this now allows me to use gravity in my favor. And you know, the whole time that you're throwing and you're trying to make those 6-inch cylinders are trying to make things taller, you're fighting gravity. It's pretty nice when you get to use gravity to help. So, you know, this just sits there, no problem. That's nice. Then I can make adjustments. I don't have to worry about it falling off. I also don't have to worry about what would happen if I hold it out like this. This area of attachment winds up getting very weak because all of this weight is going out horizontal and it wants to go down. So this part of the connection tends to get very weak and very often cracks if it's handled that way. Okay, so here I am putting this guy on. Nope, I'm gonna go the other way with it, upside down. There we go. And then I just start at the bottom and really squish. So a lot of back and forth and a lot of squishing till I see that slip come squishing out the top. Then I know I've got a really good connection going on there. Then I'm going to take my fingers in this kind of a motion and I'm going to push down into that rim. I'm also supporting on the inside. I'm gonna push down with that thumb and forefinger so that I'm kind of establishing the leading edge of that handle before I even start pulling the handle. And I think again, it's a much more graceful kind of line in that cup. All right, now I flipped it around, still holding the rim so that it does not break. You'll find if your rims are really thin, when you go to pull handles, you can get in some trouble and crack those rims a little bit, which is why we try to compress our rims as much as possible or bevel them, right? Bevel them at an angle, but you don't just want them paper thin. Okay, so now this is pretty well attached. I'm happy with that. And I'm gonna start pulling. Now to start pulling, I'm again gonna use gravity in my favor and just give it a full flip. So now gravity is gonna help me pull. All right, here is the bucket for the pulling. Good. Okay, and when you start pulling, Bev was really surprised, I think, by how little pressure I use. It's not a lot, right? You've got gravity on your side too, so you don't have to pull as hard maybe as you think. But I always start at the bottom. And do a few little pulls there to narrow that base. Because the worst is, if you've got a little bulge down there, then every time you pull, you get stuck on that and it yanks on the handle and can detach it from your cup. So I'm holding my fingers this way so that I'm kind of scissor holding that, and that will flatten the handle, but that also then makes it wider. So every once in a while, I'll also pull just a straight down, kind of in a circular hold to narrow this, right? So this narrows it, this flattens it. And I'm also keeping in mind that leading edge, and this is going to be a good view of how to make that leading edge. I put the nook, or into this little nook of my finger, I put the back of the handle, and then the front is between my pointer finger and my thumb. And a few draws like that make that beautiful leading edge that I like so much, right? And then you want to change direction often. If you just keep pulling the same way over and over and over and over and over again, your handle gets crooked. Can you see that? I hope so. All right, so switching sides. And now I'm just holding the leading edge while I'm going because I feel like my handle's almost thin enough. Pretty happy with that. All right, a couple different, one over my head. just kidding. All right, so I think I'm pretty happy with that. Looks good? All right, now I'm going to hold it up and see if I like it. So I'm gonna kind of just hold that up to the cup. Do I like how that looks? I don't know, what do you think?
I like it.
Yeah? I feel like it's maybe still a little too beefy for my rim. I think. Maybe, maybe not. Here, let's put it down. Let's see it. Yeah, it feels too big. Yep, too big. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna pull a little bit more. Okay. So, nicely, I can detach it. I can go right back to this nice hanging down motion. Also gonna bring it up a little bit, up in here, so I'm thinking about that negative space. I didn't like how that negative space looked kind of heavy. Or I don't know if negative space can look heavy, but I'm getting a little bit of fissuring in there. All right. Yeah. No.
It's good.
Not sure?
I'm not sure.
You looked undecided on that one. Oh, I'm very fond of that. I like how this curve matches the curve in that base. Yeah, I'm sticking with that one. Okay. So then I'm just gonna press where it's going to connect. I don't feel like I really need to slip and score that because it's, you know, I've been making slip all day with this, and the bottom of this is a lot less firm than the top. Yeah, I'm gonna go with that. I'll do a little bit of extra to decorate down here, but what I love now is to get out the little baby brush, just a skinny little brush with soft bristles. Then I can drag it all around this outside edge and clean up all that extra slip that's in there. And you know, remember, of course, this is only one way to do this. And I could also, if I wanted to, at this point or even earlier, like before I pull this handle, I could have really blended it so that it doesn't, so that you can't even, it looks like it just jumped off of the cup. Man, I do have a strange little fissure in there. Is that what was getting your attention? There's a little crack in there?
Can you just put Martha Grover over it and
Yeah.
blend it in?
Yep, absolutely can. Yeah, that's probably what I'll do. There we go. There, that's just right. there. But yeah, that little baby brush does such a nice job, but you can absolutely blend that in completely so that you can't even see where the handle starts and the mug ends. A lot of people like to do them like that. You can do, big designs at the bottom of your attachment down here, and since I have this to kind of cue off of and that to kind of cue off of, I'll probably do a nice little arched push down here just to finish that edge. But you can be really creative with them, and these are, remember, your 4 pulled handles are going to be probably the least exciting of the handles that you do. You can sculpt them into tree limbs or octopus tentacles or bones or springs or anything that you can think of. You are absolutely welcome to and happy to do. And if function isn't what you're shooting for, you can get really crazy with them. And please take a look at the PowerPoint that will be up on Blackboard if it's not already. It might already be there. If not, I'll double check and get that up on Blackboard. There's a really nice, it's the mug show based on the Pete Pinnell reading that you guys read, and it's a lot of mugs, and there's a lot of, cups and mugs. There's a lot of very nice quotes, and you'll see some of the crazy directions that you can take this. So have fun. Pull handles like the wind. Bye.